Act 3, Scene 3, aka the scene where Romeo cries the entire time. So remember, at this point, Romeo has murdered Tybalt, who murdered Mercutio, and Juliet is ticked off that, her beloved husband murdered her cousin. And we know that Romeo has been banished. Romeo didn't know that up until the very beginning of the scene when Friar Lawrence shows up and says, "Hey, sorry, you're kicked out of Verona," which is why Romeo is literally laying on the floor, crying his eyes out. Friar Lawrence tries to comfort him for a while, but then totally loses his patience because he's like, "Romeo, this could be so much worse. The punishment for fighting is execution. You're alive. Rejoice." But Romeo is so upset, saying that banishment is worse than death because how can he live without Juliet? And, if he's banished, he might as well just kill himself now because that's better than living without her. Foreshadowing. All right, so we've got the first suicidal tendency of Romeo. Friar Lawrence thankfully snaps him out of it and says, "Hey, all's not lost. You're alive, you're married, we'll figure out a way to make it work." At that moment, there is a knock on the door, but it's not the authorities coming to escort Romeo out of the city. It's the nurse. And she's there and tells them that Juliet is in pretty much the same condition as Romeo is. They are both crying and completely inconsolable. The nurse, however, says that Juliet wants to see Romeo before he leaves Verona. And at that news, Romeo is overjoyed and suddenly wants to live again because Juliet doesn't actually hate him like he thought. So they make a plan that Romeo is going to sneak into the Capulet's house again before he leaves Verona, because if he's caught in the city, he will be executed this time around. So the friar and the nurse comfort Romeo, say, "Go to Juliet, seal the deal, make your marriage official, because then we'll, send you off to this city called Mantua. You can write Juliet letters, and someday we will figure out a way to bring you back to Verona."